Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be talking about 5 altcoins specifically that over the next 12 months are going to do some pretty spectacular things. And what I'm going to do during this video is show you exactly why I believe that. Now, we teach something and a method that I apply to the markets in regards to my own personal investment strategy is essentially phase analysis, which dictates the markets move in 4 phases. There is a period of accumulation, as Wyckoff would have looked at it, which is a sideways basing phase for a market. That is then preceded by what we look at as phase 2, which is an uptrend. Wyckoff would have called it markup. Then you'll enter phase 3, which is your kind of distributive phase, your topping phase, and then, of course, phase 4. And these 5 altcoins, ladies and gentlemen, are on the cusp of broad uptrends, broad phase 2s that are going to see, in my opinion, their prices appreciate. Now, the interesting thing is, not only do these 5 altcoins have what is very textbook in regards to breaking out of your basement, your phase 1 into phase 2, which is a breakout on volume and then a retest, but actually the altcoin sector broadly has or is showing similar signs of life. So we're just covering 5 altcoins today. I don't own all of these altcoins. I own 3 of them or 2 of them directly and 1 actually indirectly. So I own 3 of them. But the interesting thing here is, and I guess one exercise that we're doing with this video is showing you that actually the altcoin sector looks amazing. And those of you that watch my daily market updates regularly will know that we've done assessments on Bitcoin, the total market cap, the total 2, the total 3, and others. And we're telling you that there is a breakout for everything except for the total market cap and Bitcoin, which is already in price discovery and going to see continuation. But there's breakouts into new all-time highs for the total 2, total 3, and total and others still to come. And actually, when you look at the altcoin sector, the individual altcoins, and we're just showing you 5 today, are very much positioned for a broad uptrend to take place or a phase 2 as we look at it. So we have introduced our phase analysis. What I want to do now is show you examples of, and we predicted all of these charts, including Bitcoin, and we got back into the crypto space when Bitcoin was 16K. That's all public back at the start of 2023. I have an entire group of people that are going to test to that. If you want to become a member on my Patreon, there's a link in the description. We've just opened it back up. But what we're going to focus on here is your phase 1 base into phase 2 and how that takes place. And that is typically always greeted, I would say 8 times out of 10, 7 times out of 10. Once you've broken out of your resistance level, which pins you in phase 1, and that's how you form this accumulative range, you'll very commonly then retest it before the bulk of the bull market phase 2 actually takes place. And Bitcoin is a great example of that. But we can show you literally hundreds of stocks, even cryptos in the past bull market that did this, because this is how markets move. And this is what we specialize in. The structure that markets take, and that allows us to understand where a market is and where we believe it's going. It's a very simple method, but I think there's so many ding-dongs out there that complicate things when it comes to investing, and certainly technical analysis, which is why it's got a bad rap. But actually, this stuff does work. It's tried and tested. But looking at Bitcoin, this was its phase 1 base, a breakout, a retest, and then the bulk of the move took place. Let's take a look at American Superconductor Corporation, not semiconductors, although that was another one, or Vanex Semiconductors that we looked at. You can see this is your phase 1 base, this is your resistance level, you break it, you retest it, and then you see that broad phase 2 continuation. Let's take a look at Samsara again. We had a technical pattern for this one that got met, giving us confidence to the fact that phase 2 was going to take place. You broke out of your basement here on volume. Look at the volume spikes. They'll be complicit across the board. Look at this for volume. Decline in volume continuation. So to go back to Samsara, you can see breakout, retest, broad continuation. If we show you the New York Times, another one that we were looking at, breakout, retest, continuation. And this is a more recent one that we were looking at, or I was certainly looking at with Patreons, breakout, retest, continuation. This has made our target. Now, the 5 altcoins we're about to look at are all at that breakout, retest sort of spot, and ultimately there's a broad phase 2 ahead of them, meaning that they're all going to do very well. And actually, again, I really want to highlight this. We believe there's continuation for this market as a whole and growth coming based on the total market caps and Bitcoin. But the individual altcoins also are very signaling to that. So when it walketh, talketh, and quacketh like a duck, ladies and gentlemen, it is a duck. Let's take a look at altcoin number one. Now, you guys will know this is my largest position in the entire cryptocurrency space. This makes up the bulk of my portfolio, which you can unlock when you become a Patreon. But again, this is a very classic, this might just be a broadening structure, breakout, retest, and continuation is on the cards. We are now in phase two. We've initiated that with a volume on the break, decline in volume. Volume will pick up and you'll see continuation for Hedera Hashgraph, likely taking it to that double bottom target of 96 cents. So that is altcoin number uno. Again, to recap, we've looked at a lot of examples of how markets will typically transition from a cumulative phase, a sideways phase, into phase two. Hedera Hashgraph has or the H-bar token has all the hallmarks of that, and that essentially is going to allow us to predict what's coming from a more broader weekly time frame, how markets move perspective. So Hedera Hashgraph is altcoin number one. This is absolutely textbook, and you will see continuation on the back end of this. Then we have the likes of Algorand. Double bottom, breakout on volume, retest, volume spiked around here. You will see continuation for this in a broad phase two continue. Just like the examples we've just previously shown you, Bitcoin, American Super Corporation, Samsara, New York Times, Pitney Bowes Incorporated, Algorand, and Hedera have those broad phase twos, those broad uptrends ahead of them. And what you're doing is actually very confirming in regards to retesting from whence you came, retesting that prior resistance now flipped in support. It's a very simplistic technical analysis, but it works. So we have Hedera Hashgraph, Algorand. The next one I want to show you is XDC. Now, we've given price predictions on all of these, and we're yet to see them come to fruition. And we think we've got probability essentially on our side. But again, ignore this big wick. This only showed up on Bitfinex. You've got a breakout on volume and a retest. Look at where you're supporting. You will see continuation. We also have a technical target for XDC. So we've got H-bar, Algorand, XDC. And the next one that we're going to show that we don't really talk about often, this isn't one that I own, but it's AVAX. This is your phase one accumulation, breakout on substantial volume, decline in volume. You'll see a resurgence. It's no coincidence that you're supporting around here. Ethereum looks very similar to this, but we are going to see that broad phase two come. Actually, we could go even further than this and not just factor in related charts like the total market cap, Bitcoin, etc., but the macro conditions that's going to drive this. I do that every Sunday with my Patreons. We will see continuation on the back end of this, in my opinion. So we've got Hedera Hashgraph, Algorand, XDC, Avalanche, AVAX, and one that we've not spoken about in a hell of a long time, and I haven't actually really watched since the last bull market, is Telcoin. Now, one of my patrons brought this up in a meeting to have a look at the chart, but look at this for textbook. Phase one base, breakout, retest, you're likely going to see that continuation. Let's actually see if we can find a different chart just to look at the volume, which was certainly raised here. And even within this accumulative range, the volume is all to the upside, and vice versa in a distributive range, it's the opposite. So the altcoins that we have for you are Hedera Hashgraph. They're all showing the same signs of life. Algorand, XDC, AVAX, Avalanche, and Telcoin. And they have a similar journey ahead of them, and they are only just here in regards to what we saw Bitcoin, and we predicted it using the same method we're using to predict these altcoins, then embark on. American Superconductor Corporation, breakout, retest, continuation. Samsara, breakout, retest, continuation. New York Times, breakout, retest, continuation. And Pitney Bowes, which was a recent one, breakout, retest, continuation. Hedera Hashgraph, Algorand, XDC, AVAX, and Telcoin all have that to come, ladies and gentlemen. The beautiful thing is, and this is what we do here on the channel, and it's why we're very sort of separate from, I think, the rest, is we can correlate the picture together. So when you have altcoins looking in the manner that they do, and we've only shown you 5, if you want more of these videos, I can show you literally, there's probably near enough 100 altcoins that all look very similar. And I obviously have invested in the ones that I think are going to do better than others. But the altcoin market is primed for a real uptrend, a real phase two to take place. When you look at the total cryptocurrency market caps, which we do pretty much daily, and Bitcoin and the total have broken into new all-time highs. The total supporting off of prior all-time high resistance, support and resistance flip, or resistance into support flip, ready for continuation and further price discovery. The total 2, total 3, and others is literally just ran into highs, pulling back, and he's going to see a real shoot out of that. And the altcoin sector is very supportive of that in regards to what we're looking at. And that is an initiation, a confirmation into broad uptrends or phase 2s as we look at it. So that's it from me, guys. They were just 5. I don't own all of these, but I know some of you do. I don't just want to report on coins that I own. I want to report on coins more broadly. If you want more of these videos where we cover more altcoins and the opportunities that perhaps we think they are going to give you, and remember, that's not financial advice. If you invest in the cryptocurrency space, you are doing that at your own peril. Do let us know in the comment section. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Have a wonderful Valentine's Day, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.